What's going on, Jerome? It's beautiful Tuesday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. So, of course, the man of the hour, Jonathan James, J.J. McCarthy. Was it good? Was it bad? Right? It's almost like his fourth career NFL start. Kevin McConnell fed the local media jackals on Monday, talking about McCarthy, and obviously praised him for some of the high highs, some of the placement, and some of the balls good to go. But, a lot of the soft skills, a lot of just taking what's underneath versus trying to hit a home run every single time. Right. And it's a work in progress. And, yesterday we talked about a bunch of other quarterbacks, fourth or fifth NFL career starts. Have faith. Have a little faith for once in your freaking life. Hey, at least J.J. McCarthy isn't looking as ass, thank you, as Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts are tonight. It's bad. It's bad. It's almost like, who is the larger ass? Don't know, man. Yeah, but, J.J. McCarthy, every little thing is going to be all right, right? It certainly can be frustrating in the moment, but all of the things that he needs to work on can get worked on, right? Everything will be good to go. Still got a franchise quarterback. And if you don't believe, don't believe, right? Go root for another team. Yeah. Love the one you're with. That's right. And, times in Vikings history, I haven't agreed with the quarterback. Kirk Cousins is, Jordan Love yet again, broken up. Jordan Love yet again, broken up by Reed Blankenship. Love it, man. 4th and 9, feeling fine. Desperation mode. And basically, it's just because the quarterback isn't your guy, he's still your guy. So, the Kirk Cousins era was interesting. Was never like fully on board. Never really bought it, but it is what it is. He was their quarterback. Right. Same thing. A lot of people didn't like Teddy. A lot of people didn't like Christian Ponder. People didn't like T-Jack, rest in power. I'm sure people didn't like Dante or Gus Frerotte back in the day or Brad Johnson. But it's okay. Love the one you're with. That's right. Also, Kevin McConnell was asked about Justin friggin' Jefferson, and we even talked about this too, where Jefferson, the vibes are just off, right? And I know, like body language, attitude, effort. There's plenty of questions on Sunday, but Kevin McConnell addressed it on Monday. Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who's not Carl Gerbschmidt, asked about Justin Jefferson's body language Sunday. Kevin McConnell said there was some frustration related to officiating calls. O'Connell said, I have no concerns with Justin, and said, if anything, the Vikings need to find ways to keep him fresher on game day. And that's correct. I mean, Jefferson obviously was frustrated by the lack of calls. You could see him on the sidelines. Oh, not on the sidelines, but to the referees after every pretty clear DPI or defensive holding, just in shock, right? And, the Vikings weren't going to get the calls yesterday. The Ravens, or 2 days ago, Ravens had one penalty until late in the fourth quarter. Can't have it. Yeah. But Jefferson's going to be fine. J.J. McCarthy's going to be fine. Also fine is the annual November Food Shelf fundraiser. All Venmos, Cash Apps, Super Chats on the live streams in November will go towards Twin Cities food shelves and local families in need. $2,000 goal for the month. I just believe we're over $1,100 now. Good to go. Donation links in the video description below, as well as our friends over at Every Meal. You can donate directly to them and then email producer Allie so we can include you in the tally. It's a great month to pay it forward. Thank you so much for doing it in advance. I think, is this the third or fourth year? I should really remember these things. But, Jerome's have always crushed it. Yeah, it's a great month to be grateful, give thanks, and pay it forward to, it's good times. Also, good times. Good news. Rap sheet. Vikings edge rusher Jonathan Greenard, who left Sunday's loss with a shoulder injury, is dealing with what is believed to be a minor injury that may cost him a week. Just cost him a week. Overall, good news. Well, that's a little bit out of context because Kevin McConnell says that there's a very strong belief that Greenard will be able to get some work in this week as well as play on Sunday. So the whole may just cost him a week, I think that's erroneous. Yeah, I didn't really check that before we got the rap sheet tweet up there. But it's really good news for Greenard because he looked like he was in pain, right? And Greenard this season, number one in pressures, number one in creating havoc on that defense. And, the puck luck of the sacks just isn't quite there. But it's going to happen. Like, Greenard is going to have 4 sacks on Sunday. I love it, man. Also, I was going to snap my fingers, except I literally cannot right now. So, I don't know if you can see this. This is a good pod right here. All right, so banged up my thumb. So one of our garage door openers, the chain came loose from the sprocket. Now, it's a pretty easy fix. Get back on there. Now, first off, I'm not talking about the garage door spring, which is on the front door side, because you do not mess with that. Like, people have died messing with that. But just getting the chain on the sprocket, I mean, it's no problem. It's like when you're a kid, your bike chain, putting that back on, right? So, tension rod, loosening everything. Apparently, there's still a little bit of tension left when we were putting the unhooking the chain, and I banged my thumb pretty damn good from that tension. Initially, I was worried that I lost the top half, so I couldn't give. So now, if we watch a movie that's really good, I could only give it 1.5 thumbs up. That would have been my cross to bear. Yeah, but now it's just sore. We're gonna lose the nail. It's gonna get black and blue. It is what it is. But got pretty lucky. But I cannot. Yeah, kind of hurt. Snap the fingers. There you go. Long story longer. Also, Kevin O'Connell, Kevin Seifert, ESPN. Not congressman. Ryan Kelly, who suffered 2 concussions earlier this season, is on track to have his 21-day window to practice open soon, per Kevin O'Connell. Had a good stint on the rehab field last week. And frankly, I think what's going on is that the Vikings are taking their time with Ryan Kelly because, I mean, it's concussion. Yeah, he had multiple concussions, 2 concussions in 3 weeks, and putting him on IR to save him from himself. It's pretty much what they did with Akuda as well, who also had 2 concussions this season. But also, I think it was a little bit easier to take their time because Brando's actually played really well at center over the last 2 games. So hopefully that's a spot where Kelly's back in there, because Kelly, when he was playing, was really damn good. Plus, the veteran presence, calling out protections, getting things organized at the line, his communication with Jaden McCarthy, it's good to go. But Brandel, I mean, is Brandel played himself into potential center of the future? And we've said that before, but then he had a horrible game against the Eagles. So maybe. I mean, remember, Blake Brandel was starter last year at left guard, so who knows? But Kelly, yeah, as long as he's good with it, his family's good with it, the medical professionals are good with it, it is what it is. And as we said at the jump, would not have held it against him at all if he chose to retire, because, I mean, football's football, but life is long, and concussions, mess with those, right? But hopefully he'll be good to go. A huge boost for the Vikings O-line. It'd be the first time that the Vikings O-line of Darisaw, Jackson, Kelly, Fries, and O'Neal are all together. It's only week 11. Yeah, no problem. Also, a bit of a problem this year is getting Hockenson the ball. Now, early on, when the Vikings offensive line was bad, Hockenson had a lot of chipping duty, just said duty, but also had a couple drops, had a couple issues in there. Yeah. But Vikes fan page, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell said yet again today that he wants to get TJ Hockenson more involved in the offense. On the year, he has 298 routes, 8th most in the league amongst tight ends, 31 catches, 16th, 241 yards, 25. Hockenson doesn't even have 50 yards receiving in the game yet, and 2 touchdowns, which is 26. So all those are pretty pedestrian, especially with Hockenson's contract, especially another year removed from the dirty Kirby Joseph ACL. So Hockenson, I like, but more is required. And some of it, too, I'm sure some of it's on Kevin O'Connell, as well as a lot of it, too, is J.J. McCarthy just refusing to take a profit, to go underneath. All right, but obviously, him and Hockenson are fine. The touchdown against Detroit, which was pretty good, but we need more. Middle of the field, take a little pressure off of Jefferson, take a little pressure off of Addison. Speedy's fine. Yeah, but I got a fever, and the only prescription is more T.J. Hockenson. Also, a legacy of the Ravens game was the false start gate. All right, so eight false starts at home, and it was no good. Now, McCarthy's taking blame. Kevin O'Connell's taking blame. There's a lot of things going on. I think what it was is O'Connell tried to get too fancy. And, I mean, the Ravens are getting healthy, but he didn't really need to do that. The Vikings had a lot of shifting, a lot of motions, a lot of going on 2, a lot of going on set. and the guys just weren't on the same page, because it's probably the first time this season that they really leaned into the adjusted cadences. And also McCarthy's in his fourth start, and every quarterback's cadence is a little bit different. And I do think that all factored in to the 8 false starts. Kind of ridiculous. A long story longer, Ravens' John Harbaugh denies wrongdoing after Vikings' false starts. Now, Aaron Jones sort of said something that maybe implicated the Ravens a little bit. But Harbaugh said, we didn't have a game plan for that. Harbaugh said Monday, if we did, I would have been I would have been happy, but we're not going to do anything illegal. The Ravens. Yeah. But I sort of believe it, because you do see it sometimes where defensive line will shift during the cadence, try and get the O-line to jump. They'll also bark out, hut, sit, try and get him to jump. It's absolute bush league. I don't think the Ravens are doing that. Nah. I feel like Harbaugh, aside from the injury report, has enough integrity just to not do that. All right. And that would be a cop-out. Like, that would be, I know that we blame the refs a lot, but so does everyone else. But just blaming the Ravens for all the false starts, that would be pure cop-out. Nah. It's really more on the Vikings. It feels like Kevin O'Connell was just trying to get too fancy in a spot where, okay, why? I mean, I understand why you do this at home, because when you're on the road, simplify things. The crowd's going to be loud in general. Silent count often. But why do this at home? Also, why do this against the Ravens? Again, the Ravens are fine, but they're not the Broncos. So, I don't know. Yeah. Also, the Diamond Dallas Turner probably would have been the best highlight sack of his young career, but the whole body weight thing. And I understand it's the rule. I understand the Vikings benefited from it last week with Jack Campbell against the Lions. I understand that the rule came in because of Anthony Barr and Aaron Rodgers, but still don't like it. And Kevin O'Connell even towed the company line, saying well, Dallas just has to find a better way to shift his weight. How? Float? Become Aladdin? I can show you the world. Please, get out of here, man. Also, so this is what's interesting. Cashman was asked about the Ravens offense on Sunday. Quote, I didn't think Baltimore was really taking much risk. They were running the football. For the most part, where they were having success was in the quick passes and the drop back. It wasn't really working for them. It's hard to take the ball off the team when they're not absorbing risk. So, obviously, the Ravens had a pretty conservative game plan. I mean, Lamar didn't really go off. Derrick Henry had 75 rushing yards, so they didn't do anything crazy, but they didn't have to, especially with the Vikings making errors on their own side. McCarthy's interceptions, the second one, who cares? First one, issue. Miles Price fumble, issue. All right, and Cashman's a bright dude. I honestly wonder if this is him subtly criticizing Kevin O'Connell and the offense, where. Again, if the Vikings had a similar game plan to the Ravens, Vikings win easily, right? But with the false starts and with Kevin O'Connell's pass-happy ego, we just had to turn it into shoot out the OK Corral. Wyatt Earp. You got Doc Holliday on the street sweeper. Come on, man. But I don't know. Honestly, Kevin O'Connell says they need to run more than they never do, right? He did make a point in his presser on Monday, talk about it's hard just to run the ball when you're having false starts and it's 1st and 15. Right? The strategy changes, right? But Cashman, he's right about the Ravens offense. That they didn't have to do anything fancy. They didn't have to take risks, and they didn't. And the Vikings were just completely wide open, like Kevin O'Connell calling the double pass. J.J. McCarthy just firing the effing pigskin all over the place. Come on. Yeah. And also with home. I don't know what it is. So the Vikings are 1-3 at home this season. And it's just been no Gouda. All right. So the Falcons, no call, no show, has to be one of the more embarrassing home games in Vikings franchise history. Bengals game, pretty all right. Eagles game, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Ravens game, woulda, coulda, shoulda as well. 8 false starts. So the Vikings 1-3 at home. I don't get it, man. I just really don't get it. Like, home crowd, one of the best home crowds in the National Football League. Should have the energy, should have that juice, but I just don't have it. Hopefully that gets turned around because the Vikings have 2 straight home games and then finish up, well, one more home game, and then finish up with 2 home games at the end against the Lions and the Packers. So hopefully they get their home field disadvantage-ish figured out and quick. Lastly, so Brian Daboll got fired by the Giants. That's what happens when you lose to the Bears. You just get washed out. But Daboll and the Giants, they've blown 4 double-digit road leads this year. Can't have it. GM Joe Shane's actually sticking around. And I actually don't mind that because, I mean, the Giants are a talented team, especially their defense front 7. Dart looks like a keeper when he's not being concussed. I mean, I'm sure that's part of Daboll's dismissal too. Scadaboo, hopefully his ankle's good to go. Malik Neighbors after the ACL should be fine. And, I mean, they have talent, right? But Daboll, he gets the axe. He made his bones off of Ed Donashell in the 2022 playoffs, right? And with the Giants, I mean, Flores is the obvious candidate, even though he's interviewed before. And, the Giants... The Giants were the basis of Flores' lawsuit against the league. Yeah, as Belichick texted him, "Hey, congratulations, Brian. Meant it for Daboll. Went to Flores." So, I don't know. But the Giants, Flores makes a lot of sense. He's a Brooklyn native, grew up a Giants fan. I think that he's come a long way learning from Kevin O'Connell how to deal with the quarterback. Tua is not joining the Giants, which is good. But they're just going to hire Belichick because Belichick had some great years as the Giants' DC and assistant, but I don't know. He's like 74. Who knows, man? Anyways, that's it. Vikings news done for this beautiful, glorious Tuesday. You guys are the best you know what to do. Skol, production value.